World of Warcraft has made some significant changes to the new player experience, to the point where I finally think it's worth it and enjoyable for someone to hop in for the first time. In this video, I'm going to go over the top 10 things to know to make your first entry into Azeroth as enjoyable as possible, and see if the game is something for you. Whether you've played before or not, I think there's some important info in here that could change the way that you see the game. I've tried to get into World of Warcraft like 15 times over the past decade, and I've never succeeded. Until now, I'm really enjoying it. Look, chances are you know some basic facts about how the game works, but here's a 30-second rundown in case you don't. When you start up the game, you choose between two competing factions, which limit what race you can choose, which limits what class you can choose. That class will then have one of three specializations that you can choose at level 10 that define special abilities and spells you get, as well as your role in a party, tank, damage, or healer. Beyond that, you level up your character and experience the various storylines of Azeroth doing quests, group dungeons, PvP, whatever you want. It has literally defined how most MMOs work for like the past 10 years. It is the baseline. But now that we're all on the same page, let's get to those top 10 changes. Number 1, there is a free trial. You don't actually have to put down any money up through level 20. This will give you just enough to get through that introductory experience, level your character up through its basic core abilities and spells, learn a little bit about the world of Azeroth, try out a couple dungeons, the basic stuff. It's not going to give you the full picture of what WoW is and can offer, but it's enough for you to be like, is this game even remotely in the space of something I'd enjoy? In fact, we were just playing World of Warcraft on stream last night, and Epic did hit his level 20 trial end, but he seemed to be having a pretty good time. I think he's going to continue. Speaking of which, if you didn't know, we do stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. Definitely come by and say hi. We've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft lately. We play a lot of other games too, so come by, tell me what you think of the new leveling experience, whether or not you're going to be checking it out. Number 2, a quick note. During that free trial, you might see other races that you can't select during your character creation. They're known as allied races, and they were introduced in the last expansion, Battle for Azeroth. They used to have this huge heavy grind associated with like earning the right to play as them, which has been removed, but the quest lines that you need to do to get access to them are still in place. This means that unfortunately you can't play those as your first character. You have to complete those quests in-game before you have access to them. There are items you can pay for that are kind of stupidly expensive, to be honest. To change race later on, if you really fall in love with one, you just like can't play as it to start out, it's probably faster to just like level up a new character. It's kind of a pain, but wanted you to know that it was there. I always get hung up on those little details when you're in character creation. You can't select something. I'm like, why? Is it that I just like forget to do this? If I paid for it, could I then select it? Nope, you've got to complete the quest in-game. Doesn't matter if you're subscribed or not. Number 3, if you're a returning player from like way back and you remember the whole choice between PvP versus PvE servers when you're making your initial server selection, that's no longer a thing. At around level 20, I think it is level 20, you get access to something called War Mode, which gives you enhanced experience in open world questing, as well as unique talents and abilities that you can select that you can only use while you're active in War Mode. If War Mode is active, however, you've also opened up open world PvP. If somebody of the opposite faction sees you, they can attack you and you can attack them. It was a decision to sort of have that payoff where like you get stronger, you have new abilities, stronger abilities, etc., and more experience points while you're in war mode, but there's always the risk that somebody from another faction might interrupt your playtime. But you might also find that more fun. The real takeaway here is don't worry about PvP versus PvE servers, just pick whichever one you want, especially if you have friends already playing on some server, and go for it. Alright, so you've just finished that level 20 trial, you've decided you like World of Warcraft and you're excited about moving forward. What do you need to buy? Not much. I think you just need to do the subscription. The new expansion is coming out, I think it was just announced November 23rd or 6th, end of November, either way. But you don't need it. Yeah, if you're super jazzed and excited, go for it, buy it. It will give you a character boost up to the level cap of currently 50, as well as 30 days of free playtime, I believe. But ultimately, you get access to every expansion prior to that, including the latest one, Battle for Azeroth, just by subscribing to the game. You can play all the way up to level 50 through all the expansions that currently exist just by subscribing. This was a big deal for me because I remember back in the day, like whenever you'd want to hop back in, you'd have to catch up and sometimes buy like 4 or 5 expansions, which sometimes there was like a battle pack or something that decreased the price, but it got pretty expensive. So this is great to see that like now you just have to subscribe. All the old content, even the latest old content, is free. Number 5, and this is one of the coolest things for me, you can actually play through all of those expansions now in a very cohesive, singular way. After the introduction, there's an option to CHROMIE time walk to the previous expansions and level through their storylines. These will take you all the way to 50 on their own. You don't have to hop to different expansions. You can just hop in there at level 10, straight through level 50 and just stay in that expansion, understanding and learning all of its glorious storyline aspects. This used to be kind of complicated and sort of pushed me away from even trying to level, because you would level through like part of an expansion and then you'd out level it and you'd have to hop somewhere else. And they tried to fix this recently by introducing kind of like level scaling within certain zone ranges, but it still was a little tricky and not quite what everybody needed. The only caveat to this, I know it's really exciting, this is one of the big things that drew me in. If you are a brand new player that does not have a level capped character and you have not played through Battle for Azeroth, the first expansion you'll have to do is Battle for Azeroth. I think Blizzard's attempt here is to get everybody up to speed with the latest expansion, the latest storylines, so you're fresh and ready to go with the next one coming out in a month. But it is kind of frustrating that you can't choose to level up in like Warlords of Draenor if that's really what you wanted to play initially. I guess you can kind of sneak past this. I'd be curious, let me know in the comments if this would work. If you buy the latest expansion, get a character boost a character to 50, I think that would probably satisfy the criteria of having a level 50 character, and then you could play through any of the expansions you want if you're already intending to buy it. I'm not sure if there's a quest line you have to do in Battle for Azeroth to officially like seal the deal or not. I think it was just level 50. Let me know if you happen to know the answer. Number 6, no more worrying about whether or not the quests, dungeons, whatever you happen to be doing with your friends or by yourself are actually going to provide meaningful experience and items and gear for you. They totally will, every time. Everything scales through your leveling experience. Hop in with your friends with whatever they happen to be doing, and you'll both get, no matter what level you are. If you're 10 and he's 50, it's not like it'll scale to 25 and it's too easy for him and too hard for you. No, you will be fighting level 10 things, he'll be fighting level 50 things, and you'll both get gear that's appropriate for your level and experience that's appropriate for your level when you finish the quest, dungeon, whatever you're doing. Just enjoy the ride. I think this is one of the best changes. I was talking about in my video a couple weeks ago about like how they've revamped the leveling experience, and I think it has made it so much more fun. On top of that, number 7, if you're doing some content and your buddy jumps in, he's like, I already did this. You can go into the map and hit sync quests, and all the inactive quests, the incomplete quests that you still have to do, become available to the other players in your party, and they can quest through them with you, even if they've already done them, and get meaningful drops and meaningful equipment from completing them. It's pretty cool. I've been waiting for games to do something like this forever, where somebody has already completed something but can still help out and get meaningful rewards from it. Usually games go like halfway. They're like, oh, you can still get experience but you can't get rewards, or you get a random reward but it's like an aesthetic choice only. Like it's just gear. It's good gear. 8, just so you know, all of this is super relaxed because the leveling is really fast. I've heard that experienced players that know what they're doing and like know which quest lines to kind of keep an eye on to move their way through Azeroth as quickly as possible can easily do this in under 10 hours. And by this, I mean the 10 to 50 experience. It's taken me on my first run about twice that, I don't know, like 18 to 20 hours, which to be honest, is pretty impressive considering we're just kind of goofing around. We have not been like, what is the most efficient route that I can level through this, which is good to see. I understand some people might want a more drawn out leveling experience to kind of enjoy the world of Azeroth a little bit more fully, but I think the way that they've defined the leveling experience where you can hop into whatever expansion you want as a new character and enjoy just that expansion makes leveling alts suddenly super enjoyable. Number 9, behind the scenes, Blizzard is totally prepping some official gamepad support that you can sort of turn on now. This is always a huge deal for me. While I've gotten over it in the time being, I love couch gaming. I love leaning back and just relaxing with an MMO, especially with a controller. It's one reason I love Final Fantasy 11 and 14. Currently, Blizzard's only offered like general gamepad interaction with the game. You can turn it on via a command prompt that I'll list a video below from Ginger Prime, who went through how he got it running and how his experience has been. He did a great job summarizing exactly what to do to get things going. But on top of that, there are a number of add-ons that have existed for a while with people that already tried to turn World of Warcraft into a controller-based game and did a very good job of it. So if you combine the existing add-ons that are out there with the now official gamepad support through the engine itself, you can create a pretty cool controller-based WoW experience, which is awesome. Seriously, check out Ginger Prime's latest if you're curious. I will link it and put a little card up there so you can click right to it. Number 10, honestly, it's all just been a really good time. There's a lot of excitement around World of Warcraft right now, even in this pre-patch stage before the expansion even comes out, which is different than I feel like it usually is. Normally there's some excitement, but not in the leveling ranges. Like everybody's going nuts. Older expansions suddenly have whole new life breathed into them because people have realized they can level up through them and experience their old favorite or just missed expansions for the first time ever. So there's so much life in the game, it's fun to see. There's so much more that I haven't even touched on. I mean, PvP, for instance, is something I can't wait to take part in, but just haven't yet. I'm really excited. I'll probably be terrible, but I am excited to play. I've been waiting until I'm capped out to try, but I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong decision. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a stupid idea. But otherwise, I encourage you to check it out. Hit me up in the comments with what your history of World of Warcraft is. Have you played before? Have you never played? Do you plan to go back? Are you never going to touch it? We're on Area 52 on the Horde if you're interested in joining us. We seem to be playing pretty regularly right now. Don't know if that'll change, but who knows? Otherwise, guys, keep gaming, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace. You're necessarily enjoying.
Oh, here's a 6-month subscription, though, for $80.
That is... that. I have one buddy who does that. He's like, I'm not sure about this game. Oh, there's a $120 version of it. I think I'm going all in.
Are you talking about me?
True story. I did that with Lord of the Rings Online, and I played it for about 45 minutes, and I regretted my decision.